there! So today we have another review, and this is a beer from Bell's. This is Sparkleberry. So this is a new beer. This is a raspberry Belgian style ale. So it's basically a 9% Belgian style triple raspberry. It's a really interesting kind of pairing. Beautiful pink kind of flow to this one. And very interesting on this one. Very, very interesting. This beer is unreasonably fresh. This beer is a July only seasonal, or once year release or whatever. And this was, from what I can read, canned 11 days ago. And I just went to the Total Wine retailer on a Monday. And generally, if you guys don't know, retailers get their deliveries, I think like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like generally Monday is sort of just that ordering day. Like ordering days are like earlier in the week and they get delivered later. So are they delivering a beer on a Monday? Because otherwise this beer is 11 days fresh. So like, otherwise it got delivered at some point last week and then the beer is like almost a week fresh. Can beer really come from Michigan to Florida in a week? That's absolutely crazy. If that's the case, why can't they do that to IPAs? Why can't breweries like Founders do that with IPAs? Why can't breweries like, Sierra Nevada come from North Carolina to Florida in 7 days? I mean, this is the kind of beer that I don't really care if it's 11 days fresh. It doesn't really matter. It has a 6 months shelf life. It's not hoppy, but wow, we want 11 days fresh. Hell, even local breweries can't be fresh. I don't think I've ever seen weak fresh highlight. And I check all over the place, anytime somewhere, oh, how fresh is highlight? Freshness. There's Greg beer reviews all over again, just bitching up freshness. I don't know, sorry guys. Anyway, let's take it to the freaky beer. The beer is dark, yeah. Raspberry beer is very dark. This honestly looks like a cherry beer or like a currant beer, a grape beer. Like it has a very deep hue to it. The beer is like, you can see amber in the light, but honestly looks a little bit more like an, Flanders red or something like that. It's got a really just dark garnet kind of red color. It's like deep amber to almost like light brown. Yeah, it's got just really dark red color to it. I smell a lot of raspberry. It reminds me actually of Rubaeus. I get tons of Rubaeus on its own. So straight up that Michigan berry profile. I get the phenolic now. I get that kind of Band-Aid-y triple thing. Lots of Band-Aid. It's raspberries and Band-Aids. Yeah, if they could scratch and sniff some Band-Aids, that'd be pretty much where we're at. Plasticky, yeah, cheers. Okay, so the raspberry flavor is actually quite nice. Rubaeus to me is overly sweet. This one is obviously similar flavor, but pushed into a big 9% dry beer. Quite fruity, follows the nose. It's super phenolic. This beer, I guess they weren't pushing those other kind of esters. Like a triple can be quite banana-y and pear forward and ripe apple forward. Maybe that mess around with the berry profile. So what they've done is really pushed the berry flavor forward, and then maybe underneath is a little bit of that kind of, now I taste it more as a little bit of that kind of like cooked pear, like ripe pear flavor that like plays into the tartness. Like you have tart raspberry, sweet raspberry, a little bit of that kind of pear, palm fruit kind of thing. And then you ride onto that kind of like phenolic thing on the back end of the triple. Bright carbonation on this one, dry. I drink it more. The kind of phenolic flavor sort of dies down a little bit. Again, it's not really necessarily peppery. I get a little bit of pepper on the back end, but it's most of that Band-Aid plastic thing. A little bit of booziness. As drinking more, it becomes more and more drinkable. It's a triple after all. Triples are. Oh. But then just as I'm speaking, boom, back in with that Band-Aid coming in. So I think honestly this beer is just a slightly aggressive on the phenolic, but it is one of those just like fruity crazy beers. It's one of those like Gold Monkeys where it's just like, instead of having the ester profile of a Gold Monkey where, having the drinkability of that, fruity yeast character, the dryness of the beer, this one is just pumped up with a bunch of raspberries, but it's still a dangerous, dry 9% triple. So you're just like finding these kind of like, they're the accessible beers. I think this would go well in a tap room with honestly like a female crowd. I think a lot of like couples would come in. Someone might not like traditional hoppy beers, and you introduce something fruity, but also quite dry. This again is playing towards the realm of wine, right? We're talking about some amount of fruitiness, the raspberry, boom, jam-packed in your jammy cabs, California cabs, and then the beer is dry, just like the tannic dryness of a cab. And honestly, I think this is where this crowd pleaser goes, towards wine drinkers, and it's not trying to be misogynistic or anything. I think as I drink it more, it makes more and more sense. This actually does honestly taste more like a watered down cab. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm trying to like back restructure the. I mean, I assume if they created this beer just out of like, you know, who knows what, that's very impressive. But I feel like I just mentally reverse engineered what they were thinking. How do I make a cab into a Belgian high ABV beer? Boom, and they sort of done that. They could have thrown in some currants in there. I think that would have played well with it, but instead they thrown a bunch of raspberries, and you know, this is a crowd pleaser beer. For your wine drinkers, it's crushable, 9%. Honestly, for drinkability, I'd say it's right there with Gold Monkey, and then I think Sour Monkey's obviously like insanely drinkable, but it's gonna get you messed up. It's 16 ounce can, 9% beer is gonna get you messed up. And you know, you don't really get sweet fruity character on this one. It's nice and dry, Belgian-y, boom, punch you in the face, Tripel, quite nice. I think it does a good job. So for that kind of like, hey, I'm gonna have one of these and then move my night onto other beers, I think it does a good job with that. Or like, if you have 4-pack of these, you're gonna get in big trouble. For that reason, I like the Victory Monkeys for that, you know, specific purpose. Those are just like, these are drinkable, crushable beers, and if you're really looking to get to a place, you can get there with these beers. Yeah, as you're drinking more, it's got this almost like tannic thing going on, but I guess that could be the fruit. I don't know. 92. Sparkleberry. I think it just has a very specific purpose. It's a tasty beer. It's not super amazing, but it also has just wonderful drinkability. So I'm giving it points for the drinkability to sort of balance off, like, you know, it's not a super fun, crazy, really interesting, complex beer, but it's tasty. It's delicious. Drop it down to a 90. This is a 90 for me. This is Bell's Sparkleberry. Recommended. Later.